So how do you keep your man from cheating on you? Have you ever asked that question? Have you ever wondered? Has anybody ever asked you that question? How to keep a man from cheating on you? That's a good question, isn't it? And I bet you if there was one straight answer that somebody could give somebody, that person would be rich. That person would be a millionaire. Okay? I'm going to give you the answer right now. Whether you believe me or not. But the answer is basically, first, find a man who is not a cheater. And I was actually talking with a friend about this very thing last week sometime. We were kind of going back and forth, different things that people say or what they feel or whatever they think is the answer to that question. This person I was talking to was a male. He's a male friend of mine, and he's recently single, and we had a lot in common. He's also recently widowed and whatnot, and so we were just sharing different thoughts and things that come up when you're newly single, especially over 30. Anyway, I thought it was interesting that he said that, because I fully agreed with him that that is the number one answer. And the fact that he was a man saying that cemented that answer in my head as far as actually the real answer. So the real answer is that you find someone who values commitment to a relationship, someone who values their vow to God, or if they believe in God, but someone that values basically loyalty and commitment. And if they believe in God, they know that they are vowing a vow as a threefold cord with God included, right? And so, that does not guarantee that a person won't cheat on you, and it also doesn't guarantee that that person will stay with that person. Okay? And I say that because a person may go into a relationship with a very good intention, with a very clean intention, and with every intention of staying faithful. But the other person who may know that, I'm going to use me for example, who may know that me as a wife went into relationship with that intention, the other person may decide, okay, well, I got this person in the bag, I can treat them however I want to treat them, and may think it's okay to basically treat that person bad because they think, well, she loves God, she's never going to leave, she's Christian, she's a Christian wife. This, what I'm referring to, I have literally had so many conversations about this with other Christian women, other women who are like myself, who also value commitment, value marriage and love and whatnot, right? And they were cheated on or treated badly, or both, Well, being cheated on is treated badly, but maybe they were just treated very bad, and the other person thought he could get away with it. And the other person himself was also a Christian. And, being a Christian does not necessarily, mean that a person is a practicing Christian, right? Because a Christian is someone who believes in Christ, right? And then there is a practicing Christian, one who actually is practicing the morals and values that God, or that Christ, or that Jesus Christ gave us when he was here on earth. And so now we are practicing Christians, right? When you step in when you are following in Jesus Christ's footsteps, right? That's what that's called. Okay, so you might meet a Christian man, and you might meet him at Bible study. He might be sitting right up next to you, okay, and be nothing but the devil, okay, and behind closed doors, or when you get home, okay? This happens all the time. It's called a hypocrite, right? But that person will think, oh, this wife I got over here, she's Christian and she's never going to divorce me. I can treat her any kind of way. It doesn't matter if she repeatedly tells me or asks me not to do XYZ or not to disrespect her like this or that or whatever. You know, I can, you know, give her a stroke. I can give her ulcers. I can make her hair fall out, or, you know, I can irritate her soul to no end, or I can turn into the devil, or, you know, yell at her or call her names or whatever, mistreat her as much as I want. Because why? We're married and we don't believe in divorce, and so I could treat her however I want. Wrong. And me, as a Christian woman, I don't need options. I don't have to have an option to remove myself from somebody's life who is disrespecting me or overstepping boundaries or hurting me. Okay? This is something for me that I'm just being more vocal about now that I am, you know, not married and I have my own page and I can talk about whatever I want to talk about, okay? But this is how I've always felt. This isn't anything new. This is not a new concept for me. This isn't something that I'm just now discovering. I'm just being more vocal about it. Because I've always felt like, okay, I might be married to somebody, but if he's going to treat me bad, emotionally, physically, psychologically, mentally, verbally, whatever, abusive in any kind of way, I don't need an option and I don't need to cheat to leave his space, to remove myself from his energy, right? Because the simple fact is that I don't have to put up with bad treatment just because I'm a Christian. And a lot of other women, Christian women like myself, who have high morals or high values and standards and whatnot, you know, they have been taken advantage of by other men, Christian or not, at your Bible study or not, okay? And they'll be out here doing the most, thinking you're not going to go nowhere, right? And that's wrong. That's wrong. When I first decided to separate, I had made plans to stay with a family member. I don't care how many options I had out there. I don't care how many other men were out there saying they want to do this, that, and the other, or they would like to give it me or whatever. That had nothing to do with the treatment and how I felt like I was being treated in my relationship, right? So, yeah, it's like, even if you know, if a man wants to cheat on you, that's bad treatment. If he just wants to treat you bad or whatever, that's bad treatment. It's who you are as a woman, as a person, to dictate, to decide what you will allow in your life, what type of treatment you will allow from others, how they would treat you. You have to decide for yourself. You have to have your own standards, self-respect for whatever you feel is right for you or best for you, and then you have to just stand on business. So it doesn't matter if you're married to a President Obama or whatever, or if he owns every single penny you have and all of your clothes or whatever. You have to decide, you know, is it worth me staying in a relationship and being cheated on or treated bad or whatever, so that I can have clothes or a car or a house or whatever, or for the kids or whatever, right? This kind of stuff, I honestly, this type of conversation comes up, I would say, literally every week with different people that I talk to, my different jobs and stuff like that. I mean, between men and women. And one of the things that women always talk about, it's like, oh, I like him, I love my husband, but he's cheated on me so many times. There, you know, I've had women who said that, like, after the third or fourth time, they're like, I just couldn't take it anymore, I finally left. Honey, I don't blame you. I would have left after the first time. You know, and I've been hurt in my relationships. And believe me when I say, and God is my witness, I absolutely packed my bags and left. And this was in my first relationship, and I loved him very much. And he will tell you this, and also my close friends and family who were around me at that time know that it was nothing but the hand of God that stopped me. Okay, I didn't need no other options, no other man, anybody else to convince me or to coerce me or to tell me, you don't deserve that or whatever. It wasn't about that for me. It wasn't about that. And my husband at the time, my late husband, knew. He knew I was about business. He knew what I was trying to do. So much so, God knew what I was doing and had to literally stop me. Literally. That's for another whole story. But it was my self-respect. And you have the right, if you are in a relationship, you have the right to be upset. You have the right to be upset or to feel, like the person is disloyal, or to have a little bit of, jealousy or be upset. That's normal. Even God is a jealous God. He wants you to only worship him, to only serve him, right? And when you put something else as a god, or when you do worship other gods, or when you do pagan things or whatever, he doesn't like that. That makes him jealous. That's what the Bible says. The Bible says he is a jealous God. So it's only normal and only right for us to feel that way as humans, right? When somebody cheats on you, to feel a sense of jealousy or to be upset over that. You have the right. But it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to stay around and allow that treatment to happen over and over and over and over and over again, okay? And some men are just that way. They don't view monogamy, or they don't view loyalty or commitment or marriage the same way as you. So this is where you need to have the same value system, okay? The same values, the same moral values as the person that you're with. You can be opposites attract, but have the same morals and the same values, okay? And that's what I'm always talking about. So there is no magic way to, try to keep a guy from cheating on you. Now, I was speaking with somebody who was telling me about his friend that was recently married to actually somebody really younger than him. I guess a lot younger than him or whatever. And this man was feeling suffocated or frustrated with that woman because she was only doing her duty, or she was only having that activity once a week or something. This is what the person was telling me. And how this man who was loyal and who also viewed commitment and monogamy and cheating as disloyal and all of that, he was frustrated and he tried to share with that woman that, he was going to need more than that. And he shared, according to this person who was telling me about his friend, he shared with her on many occasions that he was going to need her to make more time for him. And basically after 2 years, it was like she never made that space for him, and she never adjusted her, time or whatever, to the point that he left. And he told her, he said, I left, or said he was leaving, and he did find somebody else. He didn't actually divorce her though, and he continued to pay for her to have, the same type of living arrangements and whatnot, which, is a good man, in many respects. And he at least was very flat out honest with her, and he tried in his mind for however long he felt was necessary, right? So there are many reasons why people actually cheat, but when you're dealing with a cheater, that's just what they're going to do. Then there are some people who are not cheaters and will actually forewarn their mate, so to speak, of the actions that they will take due to their lack or their inaction or inactivity or appreciation or whatever it is that they feel that they're missing. Okay? Most men that I know, a lot of men, I've heard them say things. It's like they fall in love with a woman and it's like they like this or this and this, and but they really need XYZ. It's like, I've had men who said, they wish they would come home to a clean house and a cooked meal. And then I've known some men who are like, no, I'll do all that. I just want her to not usurp my authority and not go against me and just be a team player, and let me take the lead, and it's like, they don't care if the house blew up. They don't care if the house is a mess. They don't care if you cook for them or not. Okay. So every man is really very, very different with what they want or whatever, and how long they'll go before they start seeking outside the marriage to take care of that need. Some men don't ever actually physically do the act of cheating, but they are emotionally connected to another woman, and they are more concerned about what another woman feels or thinks, or her opinion, her thought, or her desires, or whatever. Like he will always, he may have a really good girlfriend, and every time he wants to do something, maybe a career change or something, whatever, he doesn't feel like he can go to his wife for a genuine opinion or thought or whatever, that he'll have to go to this other person, right? That's still cheating. I mean, when you are very emotionally connected to another woman, or she can affect your emotions during the day, like that other woman, not only are you, it's one thing to just go to another woman for advice, or your mother or somebody, whatever, but this particular woman is someone that you actually really love, or you have loved. Maybe she's an ex or something like that. And if she snaps at you or she's mad at you, now your day is affected and you're messed up on the inside. Actually, you're in love with that woman. It doesn't matter if you're actually doing that or not. That's wrong too. I wouldn't be okay with that in my marriage. You know, that's an emotional affair. Actually, I think that's way worse, because we all know, and a lot of men will say this, you know, because men are physical beings and they do have a different physical makeup than females. They may, you know, do different acts as an act, but they're not even emotionally connected to that person or whatever. You've heard of that. That's wrong. It's still wrong. It's still disloyal. But they can easily disconnect and stop that act, basically. Let's say if their actual marriage mate or partner would give them more time. Okay? But the man that is actually emotionally connected to somebody else, to another female or another woman, that is a connection that is hard to break. Well, he may not want to break it. It may never break. Okay? And that is worse. To me, that's worse. To me, if I'm not that woman that he's emotionally attached to, I don't even want the marriage. I don't even want it. He doesn't have to have done it with her at all. If, in my mind, I just look at it as he is doing that anyway in his mind. So I don't need to be. Why am I here? Why am I around? You know. But there really is no magic way of keeping a man from cheating on you. Okay, there are different things that you can do to probably, you know, narrow the chances and stuff. But if you're dealing with someone who is disloyal, or is just a whore, if he's just, you know, that way, and he doesn't view it as sacred, if he doesn't view marriage as sacred, you know, and he's not, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter even if you are perfect for him. Men will still go in because they want to, and because they think they can. So a man that has an internal compass on the inside that says this is wrong, you know, I've, you know, decided on this one woman. She's not perfect, but she meets the majority of my needs or whatever, and I want to build a future with her. He's going to be, if he's on the inside, he's committed to that, even when she goes through ups and downs, or if she's in a hospital, or she can no longer do that, or maybe even him, or whatever, as they get older and stuff, or whatever happens, right? The commitment, the emotional commitment, the emotional bond, and the desire to be a loyal person, a committed person, is what's actually going to be guiding him and his relationship with God if he is a Christian, right? And that is the secret to not having a man cheat on you, basically, is finding the right kind of man. Beyond that and past that, if you decide to be with somebody and you are purposely withholding good from them. So let's say you decide to, you know, marry somebody, and, you know, I'm gonna use me as an example. If I decide to marry a man and we decide to have adult fun relations 3 times a week, that would make him feel satisfied or whatever, right? And then I decide, even though I'm willing and capable, I decide that I want to work a full-time job, move out of state, start driving truck and leaving, you know, for weeks at a time, or, you know, knowing what his initial request was, or, you know, desire was, or what he would be wanting from the relationship. And I on purpose withhold good. The Bible talks about it. There's a scripture. I don't know if you guys know the scripture, but I will read it to you. I'll find it here. Let me see. Let me see. I don't know. Let's see, 1 Corinthians 7, verse 3. Let the husband give to his wife her due, and let the wife also do likewise to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but her husband does. Likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but his wife does. Do not deprive each other except by mutual consent for an appointed time, so that you may devote time to prayer and to come together again. So it says, do not deprive each other except by mutual consent. Now, so basically that's like saying, honey, I need to go out of town for work for 2 weeks. I'll be gone. You know, is that going to be okay with you? You know, that's mutual consent, right? My dad flat out read this scripture to me when my husband and I, my first husband and I, had decided we were going to move. And he told me, yes, I want you to go. This is when I was going to take care of my grandparents. And he said, yes, go to North Carolina and take care of, you know, whatever. And we were going to move. Like, he was like, I want you to go up there and get an apartment first, or whatever, yada, yada. I didn't want to be gone for very long. I didn't want that, you know. But weeks kept going by, and he was taking a long time to shut down the barbershop. And it was getting to be too much for me, too. But, you know, my dad flat out read that scripture and said, get your butt down here right now. You know, it's already been like 6 weeks or whatever it was. I don't even know. But he was going through a hard time. He was dealing with other stuff as well during that time. But the fact is, like, even as a Christian, and even in the scriptures, you're not supposed to be, like, withholding from each other. Now, nobody wants to feel used either. And nobody wants to feel like they're just some sort of, you know, whatever, like, you know, no, even if you're married, even if you're in a relationship or whatever, in a monogamous relationship or whatever, you don't want to just feel like, you know, I'm only good for this, whatever, right? So these are things that are very important that you try to figure out before you get married, right? That you are compatible in that particular way. But sometimes men, and I have known many men like this, and I've talked to many women who feel this way, and it's like you will get to a point where, for whatever reason, you know, the two of you are not growing together. You can't grow together. You've hurt each other too much, or whatever. And the man uses that activity as a way of apologizing for different things, you know, like they get in an argument or whatever, and he wants to do that, like, to apologize. And she's over here like, huh? Don't touch me. No, we're still in this little argument or whatever. Okay, and she feels some type of way. And the man doesn't understand that, because a woman is made differently. A woman feels differently. Most women feel different about that. Okay, the way that is a way of connecting emotionally, spiritually for her with her partner, right? Now, not everybody shares these type of views. There's a lot of people out here who are out there just doing the most with whoever, whenever they want, because they have a different moral compass, and maybe because they were raised differently, they saw something different, they don't know God, or they don't care about that, or whatever. Okay, that's not the kind of person I'm talking to right now. I'm talking to that woman or couple who are Christian, or at least try to go according to the standards. And they feel trapped in a way when their partner is not rendering due. And especially they feel tempted because other people who are not even guided by that type of value system, moral system, are throwing themselves at your partner. Okay? And to them, they're looking at it like, why are they over here having to beg? Okay? And so this is very important. So no matter what, regardless of any of that, God clearly has a view on this. Basically, you're not supposed to be withholding anything from each other for any reason. Now, the reality of that is, okay, a woman, just like I always say, a woman can, it's like, I can cook your plate, or I can cook your dinner and serve it to you on a nice plate and bring it to you with a beautiful attitude, with hugs and kisses and all the extras that you need, and bring it to you on your special chair, your recliner, as you're leaning back watching the game. And I can bring your drink with that, with your napkin and your fork, and so that you don't have to get up and do anything. Because why? I just love you, and I'm just want to take care of you on this particular day or whatever. I just want to take care of you, whatever. And and I can bring this food to you with a good attitude and lots of love and hugs and kisses, right? Or you can piss me all the way off and do something on purpose, irritate me, treat me bad, or disrespect me in some type of way. And I might cook for you, but I might even put it on the plate, but I'll set it over there because I'm mad. And your plate is over here on the counter. Go get it. And roll my eyes. Or I might not even do that. I might just cook and just send you a text and say, dinner is in the oven. I don't want to be at home with you. Why? Because you are irritating my soul. You make my hair fall out, or you are hurting me, or you're disrespecting me, or whatever the case, right? So it's like, I could do the same action in bed, the same thing. A woman can render due with her heart or without. Okay? So the goal is to make each other happy so that you're not feeling empty and being left all the way open to temptation that is literally all around, everywhere. It don't matter, in your Bible study groups, up there, as they say, in the pulpit, whatever. It don't matter, at work, whatever. The temptation is going to literally be everywhere. Okay? And so what I have noticed and what I have been told, and some feedback that I have received myself personally as a woman, is that when I am all the way in touch and really in love with my partner, my husband, I don't leave any room for them to cheat. Okay? And it's because I understand this scripture right here, that you're not supposed to be depriving each other of anything. And my body is not for me, and his body is not for him, but they're for each other. And that is the way God designed it to be. And that is the best attitude to have. And what I have noticed is men, a decent man, a good man, a godly man, especially once their head is clear, they are more open to communication and more apt to adjusting, or how do I want to say it, like, there's a word that I'm looking for. They're more apt to bend to your likes and dislikes, and basically just want to show up for that, be that man in the relationship, or even do their honey-do list or whatever. They're more likely to do that for you when they know that even you yourself are maybe sacrificing your time or energy or whatever, and that you are showing up for them. Okay? Now that is not 100%. It's just not 100%. Because nothing is 100%. The only thing for certain is when you know for sure that you are dealing with someone who values commitment and monogamy and who actually does not want to be a cheater. When you're dealing with someone who doesn't actually want to be a cheater. Okay, so like, how do you know that? How can you tell? That's hard too. That's not easy. That's not an easy question to answer, because men wear masks, and not just men, women too. People in general, they wear a mask. They fake. They'll come off as one way, and then when you actually spend some time with them, you realize that they are something different than what they're presenting, right? And so sometimes it's just time. And so there is no real way of being 100% of knowing. Only thing you can do is that you prepare your heart and your mind to love God first, and He will always help you to heal any pain or hurt that you go through, right? And sometimes, you're able to make amends and realize where you have went wrong in the relationship. Let's say you decided to separate for more than this little bit of appointed time, like the Bible talks about, and you decided to, let your husband be gone for a year or 2 years, whatever, 3 years, whatever, separate or whatever, right? And then you expect him to be faithful during that time. I would say that unless there's something wrong with him, okay, your expectations are too high. And, I wouldn't be putting any man to the test in that way. Like being gone for weeks and weeks at a time and expecting him to stay loyal. Now, it is different if it is due to extreme circumstances or something that you really do agree upon, or just for whatever reason you feel in your relationship that it is acceptable or it is okay. And maybe you have the type of husband who doesn't have a high sex drive or testosterone or whatever, and that part is not a problem. But even then, I have known men who maybe they didn't require that all the time, but they love hugs and kisses and touches, and they need that. They actually crave that more. Okay, so whatever the case is, don't think that you can put your husband or allow your man to be out there or be going without whatever his personal needs are or whatever for so long, and that he's just going to, no, he's probably lying. He's probably just going to lie about it. Okay? And that's because you might have put him in an extreme situation. The Bible talks about that. Like don't do that. Don't put each other in an extreme situation. Where they're always trying to flee the devil. I mean, people are just too imperfect. We're too imperfect as humans to try to do something like that, right? Like, most people can't. And like I said, even maybe if he is physically, what is he doing mentally? What is he doing? Is he, befriending another woman and getting close to another woman and letting another woman in his heart? That's worse. That's worse. Maybe he's not actually committing the act, but he is, emotionally committed to another woman. Honey, at that point, I would just let him go. Go be with that woman. Because you're never going to be able to take that place. You won't. Because whatever it is that they went through or they did or whatever it is that they had or whatever trauma bond that they got, bond of any type or whatever that is, you're not going to be able to come in between that. So don't try. Find a new man. That's my motto. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put up with that. If there is a trauma bond of some sort, or, whatever the case is, whatever it is, just let it go. And, it's best to just deal with a man who is not a cheater. He views loyalty just as important as you do. And he's not going to give you a reason to have to leave him or walk out on him or anything, because he respects you. He values you as much as you value him. And the thing is, everybody has free will. Everybody has free will. He may start out in a relationship valuing you loving you or whatever, but you never know, what his real motivation was. Maybe his only motivation was that you were a challenge to him. Maybe you were somebody so different from him, or maybe you were a rebound and you don't even know it. You don't even know it. And once he has you, then he no longer feels that challenge and treats you less than or second place. Okay, and that just, to me, that makes for a really, really bad prison, like, I don't know, hellish type of relationship. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I know I like princess treatment or queen treatment or diva. And that's why I always say I'm somewhere between princess and diva. I always say that. But what I mean by that is I know I like to take center stage. I want my man to, because I'm going to treat him center stage, and I'm going to look at him that way, and I'm going to take care of him, and I'm going to use my energy and stuff for him, and I'm going to want that same back. And also, I'm not going to leave him out in the cold and not get his needs met. It ain't going to, for one thing, for certain, for me, that won't be a reason for a man to cheat for me, because to me, that is just a given that you must render or do, right? But I won't be taken advantage of either. I won't be taken advantage of, and I won't be mistreated or treated bad, I don't know. So I know how I like to be treated in relationships, and I know I want that to be, that, I want to do that for him, and I want that to be done for me. It needs to be equal. It needs to be the same. You need to view each other the same, with the same honor, with the same respect, with the same value. And when that happens, when you are that way in your relationships, or when you are that way, you can tell. You can tell by the way, honestly, it's little things. You can tell, like, for example, when you are the apple of a man's eye, and so the Bible talks about the eye. The eye is literally the keyhole to the mind, right? When you are the apple of his eye, for example, his eyes will like to follow you around the room. Okay? He will check on you all the time. He will call you all the time. And I don't mean like 24/7, like he's trying to hound you down, like he's trying to, track you down, or he's trying to control you. There is a difference between, love and possession. There is a difference. And I've experienced the difference between somebody who wants to possess you and your possessional love, or real love, when you are really esteemed, treated very well, valued, wanted, desired, right? Those are two different things. And a way a man treats you and looks at you and feels about you, when there is that type of a feeling, is very, very, very different. He is not going to be keeping his eyes constantly on his phone, preoccupied, talking on the phone with other people, other women, whatever, or gone all the time, never really showing up, not really checking on you, not really, doing little things for you, whatever, right? And so, you should know, like, you'll know, as a woman, you can tell when you're not really his number one priority, or his number one in his mind. You can tell. And for me personally, like, I'm not accepting anything else. I'm just not. I'm not. Because the minute I start feeling like that, then I start responding in the same way. It's like mirroring, right? It really is. I'm very much a mirror. That's how I am in relationships. As soon as I feel some type of way, or feel like you're treating me some type of way, or it's like, for example, if I say don't yell at me and you're always yelling at me, okay, now I'm going to start yelling back because now I'm going to mirror what I'm getting. Until I get to the point where I can't take it no more, right? Because it's like, I really don't want to yell. I'm not a yeller or a screamer, right? And so if I feel like I'm forced to communicate in that way, and I don't even want to, I'm going to just remove myself from the whole communication conversation anyway, okay? Because I'm going to say that person doesn't know how to communicate in the kind of way that he doesn't rile me up, okay? Because I easily can get riled up. And that's why I always say I need a laid back man, a man that's kind of laid back. Like, my first husband was very laid back in a lot of ways. He was very laid back. He didn't let me get him too riled up. Certain things, yes, certain things. But I knew what those lanes were, right? So in general, I need a very laid back, kind of happy-go-lucky kind of person who is just kind of like, you know, not as easily riled up as I am, because I'm the kind of person that can, you know, if I see a cut on your finger or his finger or something like that, and I'm over here like, oh my God, what happened? I'm riled up. I'm like, what did you, blah, blah, blah. And I get, because that's who I am as a person. I'm dramatic, you know, I've always been that way. So I don't deny that. I absolutely don't deny that, right? But I know I'm not for everybody, right? So I know that. So if my riling up, if I'm naturally a dramatic person, and then my riling up riles him up, and he gets whatever, and we start doing this to each other, it's like, it's not good. It's not good. It makes the energy really bad, and eventually it's just not a good, match, right? Like, that's just what it is. So basically, in closing, you know, how to keep a man from cheating on you. Well, okay, so let me do this. So that is my real answer, is what I told you, as far as like just finding a man who actually doesn't want to be a cheater, who actually wants to be loyal, who actually like values his commitments, okay? But past that, which that is bottom line what it is, right? Let's look at what Google says, okay? I forgot. I typed it up, but I didn't even read it, because, you know, I always just kind of type it up and then I kind of forget. But anyway, let's just read through these lines, because these would be, to me, these are all basic things. But no one thing is going to be the answer for any one man. It's going to be different for every man. Every man is going to have his core 1 to 3 things that are super important about him, whatever that he wants, right? And you just have to figure out what they are by asking him, okay? Or just trying to hopefully decipher that, right? So for one man, he might really care about the way you look, right? He may want a particular type of look that he's attracted to or whatever. And again, that's not personal. Everybody's entitled to what they like. That is not personal. I don't take those things personal, okay? Okay, so then let's say you might fit that, but he may also want you to be well-spoken. He may not want you to have ghetto slang. Okay, I had a guy who told me that. He liked that he said that I talked like a white girl. I don't know. I mean, okay, I'm just saying, quote, okay, I'm biracial, so I can say all those things, white, black, Chinese, whatever, and I could care less. I am biracial, and I am not racist, okay? This is what this man said to me. He said he didn't like all that slang, slow, the southern slang. Draw what we finna do. I don't know. He tried to do it. Whatever he said. Okay. Anyway, it cracked me up. It made me laugh. But that's because my father, who was black, okay, would not let me get away with slang. My father, so many times stopped me from whatever I was saying and said, "Say that again. Say it correctly. Say it properly. Say it slow." I'm still a fast talker, but when I would get excited, I would talk so fast. And my dad would say, "Slow down and pronounce your syllables all the way through." And I'm so thankful he did that to me, because it helped me to speak better. But anyway, this man said that to me. He literally said that. Like, he couldn't stand the way some of these women, he said they would be beautiful. He would think they were pretty until they opened their mouth. And then he said he just didn't like it. That was just his thing. Okay. And then some men are like, okay, maybe you fit 2 things or whatever, but it's like he wants a woman who can cook really good. And maybe you don't do that. Maybe you don't want to cook. Maybe you don't like to cook. So then you're not going to be a good match. I mean, if you have the desire to learn to cook and you want to do that, then great. Then you can pick that up. And you can just Google that, and you can look it up online or whatever. You can be in the kitchen and throwing pots and pans around everywhere or whatever, right? And you are speaking his love language, right? But if you don't like that, or you don't want the idea, you don't like to cook, you don't want to cook, you don't have the desire to cook, that's going to annoy you. That's going to annoy you to no end. You're going to be like, I don't want to cook. You're going to hate that. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, but anyway, I'm going to read this list here. It says, to maintain a healthy and fulfilling relationship and prevent cheating, focus on strong communication, emotional intimacy, and mutual respect, while also prioritizing individual well-being and setting clear boundaries. Right? So this is all you can do from the very beginning. You need to communicate. You need to be in good communication, and whatever your level of communication is. My level of communication is very high. Like, I think the average woman might be down here, and I'm like way up here. Communication is very high on my list. I like to communicate. I'm a talker. right? So if that man values communication as well, or he likes that or whatever, that's going to be something that's going to check something off his list, right, for him. But I'm going to communicate. And emotional intimacy and bonding is something that you can only do with somebody who is healed and someone who has an open heart, who wants that, so that you don't run him away. Because if he is not healed, if he is traumatized, if he has issues from his childhood, serious, severe issues, he's going to have a hard time. He's going to have a very hard time. And he may not, I mean, that's a person that's just very difficult. I had one man that somebody I was in a relationship with me, he once said to me that I cracked his heart open. It was so sweet. But what he was trying to say to me was that he created an emotional bond with me that he never apparently had with anybody else, or was able to experience with anybody else. And that's what he was trying to say. His terms was that I cracked his heart open, which I didn't do anything but be myself, okay? Anyway, but creating emotional intimacy is so important, because that really, to me, that's like a glue that will hold the two of you together, even when you guys are no longer able to perform those acts. Because sickness and things happen, but when you have that emotional intimacy and that emotional bond and the love that's there, you will still stick next to each other, right? Okay, it says, let's see, here's a more detailed approach. Prioritize your relationship. Make time for quality time together. Engage in activities you both enjoy, and make an effort to reconnect regularly. Communicate openly and honestly. Share your thoughts and feelings and needs with your partner, and listen actively to theirs. Okay, so communicate openly and honestly, and sharing your thoughts, your feelings, your needs with your partner, and listen actively to theirs. So if your partner communicates with you that he needs that special time activity 3 times a week, once a week, twice a week, 4 times a week, every day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day, whatever. Okay, whatever that is, and when he communicates that to you, all right, you as a woman, you need to listen and like decide whether or not you can accommodate that, whether you want to accommodate that. I mean, also, you might need to negotiate, okay? But this is where open honesty comes in, sharing with your partner what your needs are. Like, it's like, why go into a partnership if the partner can't be a partner or doesn't want to be a partner? Okay? It says nurture emotional intimacy. Show affection, express your love, and support your partner's dreams and goals. See, I'm just reading. These are not my words. I'm just reading. I'm just a messenger. Okay, it says maintain a healthy sexual relationship. Keep the spark alive in the bedroom by being open to trying new things and communicating with your desires. Okay, respect and trust. It says treat your partner with kindness, honesty, and respect, and build a foundation of trust through consistent action. Consistency is very important. Consistent action. Consistent action. Whether that's consistently talking on the phone or consistently checking on each other, consistently, if one of his major needs is fixing his dinner every day. I mean, that was, both of my past husbands were that way. They both, desired a cooked meal. And I was raised that way, so that was not hard for me to do. Sorry, just checking my surroundings. Anyway, that was not a hard concept for me. And actually, I like cooking. I'm half Italian and half black, so I like cooking. I like eating. I'm a foodie, actually. So I actually don't mind cooking. Now, what I don't like is feeling like I have to every single day, and that it's. But if I love somebody, I'm not gonna have any problem cooking for them, because I like cooking anyway, and I'm gonna want to do that. So for me, that is a very, very easy need for me to fulfill. Okay, because I like to cook. So anyway, let's see. It says setting boundaries. Establish clear boundaries and expectations about acceptable behavior within a relationship. Prioritize self-care. Take care of your own needs and interests. As a happy and fulfilled individual is more likely to be a good partner. That's right. So when you can take care of your own needs or look after yourself, yes, you're independent. That's only going to scare away or scare off somebody who is insecure and insecure in his own ability to take care of you. Okay, but because I take care of myself, anybody that I get with, he's going to know, like, if I don't at least take care of her like this, or if I don't at least whatever, what she can, I mean, she's gonna go and do it for herself. She's gonna take care of it for herself. So it's like, yes, I'm independent and I can take care of a lot of things for myself, but when I'm in a relationship, I am willingly going to relinquish certain things to my partner so that he can do that for me, because it's like, I can go get my nails done myself, but a woman loves when a man wants to go pamper his girl and go get her nails done. And me, I'm absolutely like, yeah, yay, take me, you know, okay, that's great. I'm gonna get my feet done. And this is my man who wants to do that for me. Like, that makes a woman feel really special, right? And so I'm gonna do it myself. One way or another, I'm gonna go and get my feet done, right? But I would prefer to either go with my man, we go together and get our feet done, or he just, you know, tell me to go get that done, because that makes me feel nurtured and taken care of. Okay, so it's kind of like that, right? It says, let's see, prioritize self-care. Okay, address issues promptly. Don't let problems fester. Talk about them early and find solutions. That means, okay, address issues promptly. If you're dealing with an avoidant personality style, a man or a person who is very avoidant, and he likes to stick his head in the sand or run away from problems or run away from issues as soon as you say anything, or he's super, you know, basically avoidant. Like, a lot of men are like that. It's like they can't handle when you say something to them or whatever. They don't want to deal with it. Now, neither one of my two husbands were that way. They were the opposite of avoidant. Okay, so, you know, I didn't have that issue there, but I have definitely experienced this in other dating relationships, and I've seen this a lot with men who are very avoidant of their own emotions, and avoidant in general when it can come to confronting, or when it comes to addressing issues. And I found that, you know, men hate it when you say to them, you got to talk to them, that you want to talk to them. They hate that. I don't know why. My dad even said that. I remember him saying that one time, like, they hate hearing we have to talk. I don't know why. Because for me, I'm a talker, so if I say I have to talk, that's like normal. But I guess for a lot of men, a lot of women, if they say we have to talk, it just means like, it's almost like you're in trouble or something. I don't know. So men don't like to hear that. So I always say it's best to, you know, when you're fixing your man his plate. Oh, and this is the other thing. I think I did talk about this in another video. I was talking about with a new friend of mine. She's older than me, but just by a little bit. But she was saying how she was cracking up at me. She was like, "Girl, you're so funny. We talking about your husband's 1 or 2 or whatever." Anyway, and she is married, and she's been married for a long time, and her husband is still alive and everything. They've been married for a long time. And she was just saying how she's never had a problem finding a man or finding a husband. Like, you'll hear so many women say, you know, I can't find a husband, or I can't find a man, or whatever. And she'll say that she said specifically, she was like, well, you must not be treating them correctly or whatever. She's like, because I never had that problem. And it has nothing to do with looks. And she was talking about how I like to fix my man his plate, and we from the South, and this is how we do it. You know, we fix my man his plate. Well, see, I was raised that way, right? And technically I'm from the South because I live in Florida, but my mother is from Long Island. She's from New York, you know. And I mean, it really has to do with just, I guess, how you were raised and the example that you saw of how a wife treats her husband, right? So fixing a man's plate is part of that. Like, it's just, I don't know. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I didn't think it was a big deal until other people have said things when they saw me do that or whatever, and other men admired that, like they never got that or whatever. And when you're old school, and I guess even from the South, I've noticed other women have said, like, and these are women who are married or been married, had no problem finding a man, right? And they all say, like, they have no problem prioritizing their man, fixing his plate, doing things that he likes or he needs, you know. And some of these things are core things. Now, not every man wants this. So every man is going to be different, again. But to me, that's just a basic thing that a lot of men like, most men like. But some women find that to be demeaning or demoralizing or beneath them to fix a man his plate. And when I've heard younger women who have said that to me, you know what I say to them? This is what I say. So, do you give your man HEAD? Because you're bowing down to him for that. Are you married to that person? Because you're bowing down. To me, that's beneath. You're not married to him. He's not your king. Because that's how I look at that. To me, I look at that like, oh, but you can't fix your man his plate? But you can go and do that? And he's not even married to you or something like that? I mean, just think about it. If you're a young head, okay, or whatever, and you will easily go and do that act over there, but then you can't fix your man his plate? To me, that's more demeaning. It's disgusting. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. No, not happening. No. And I'd rather fix his plate. Okay. So, just think about it, right? Like if that's your thing, because I've had women who have said that to me, young girls, women or whatever. And these are the same women who can't find a husband, can't keep a husband, whatever. Well, and it's like, that's the attitude right there. That's why. Okay. So like, don't have a problem, because guess what? I mean, if you are a Christian, remember what being a Christian is. Jesus Christ gave us his example. He washed the feet of his disciples before he left. Remember, he was the king. He was perfect, and he set the example for us. So we are supposed to minister to one another, but even more so to our partners and to our mates. If you are married and you want to keep that man, okay, don't be afraid to minister to one another. Okay, and then that's different once you become married, and what you decide to do in your married time, personal time, or whatever, that is different. Then y'all do whatever. Okay. Anyway, that's the list. I went through the whole entire list. You can look it up yourself. You can just type in, how to keep a man or whatever, how to keep your man from cheating, and see what AI tells you, see what Google tells you or whatever, see if you get some good ideas. But the most important thing is making sure that you find a man who actually doesn't want to be a cheater, who actually is looking for commitment, who actually says that, and not only says it, but you can tell he walks the walk, because he's going to be committed to taking care of you, of your needs, of the things that you need, whatever you like, whatever. He's going to prioritize you, and you're going to be able to tell that you are part of his commitment. Anyway, it is raining, and my little lunch break time is over, and I gotta get back to shopping. Bye.